Welcome to FPL Selection. Today we'll see how the team is shaping up for Game Week 21, but first a quick look at how we got on in Game Week 20. So a score of 80 points this week saw us go up to 205 in the world. Absolutely incredible. We're 10 points away from the top 100 and 64 off top spot, so definitely still aiming to win it with half the season remaining. Just want to give a quick shout out to everybody who watched the last team selection video, liked, subscribed, commented. It was really nice to see lots of people enjoying the videos, and please do let me know if you've got any opinions on the team or any improvements for the videos, because the aim is just to keep doing a little bit better each week and make everything better. So yeah, just let me know in the comments. Thanks. So we've got nothing from the defence this week, but full house from the midfield and forwards. The obvious star of the show was Mbeumo with the 19 points. We did predict that on the thumbnail from last week's video, if anyone saw that. I thought that was quite funny. He scored exactly 19. Yeah, Southampton fell apart in that last half an hour of the game, and Mbeumo got 2 goals and the assist. So yeah, obviously very happy with that transfer in last week. Cole Palmer got 10 points, just the 1 goal, but whenever he gets a return he tends to get the 3 bonus because he's always creating lots of chances in the game, key passes, so it was nice to see that. And João Pedro with back-to-back 9-pointers now, just 1 goal for him also, but again he's another player, he's so involved in everything that he tends to get the 3 bonus if he does pick up any returns. Now let's look ahead to Game Week 21. I'm recording this before the FA Cup games, so there could be some injuries to deal with from that, but I didn't want to wait too long to get this out, so yeah, just have to keep an eye on that. I've got 2 free transfers coming in this week and 0.5 in the bank. The current plan is to roll this week. I am looking to sort of build up a few more transfers in the bank, mainly for the assistant manager chip at some point, which we'll cover in a future video. That comes in Game Week 24. It does look like João Pedro might have, well, I say might have, he's definitely got an injury, but it's not sure at the moment whether it's just a short-term or long-term injury. Now, we're just going to have to wait and see next week if any information does come out. I really don't want to get rid of him at the moment, but I have started having a quick look at replacements if I do need to get rid of him. And the 3 options I've sort of come up with so far would be Chris Wood, Matheus Cunha and Ollie Watkins. I do quite like having the talisman there, and those 3, you know, they're the main man for their teams. They're the penalty takers, they get most of their returns and goals, and neither of them have great fixtures for the next 4, but equally, you know, if their teams are going to score, it's more than likely it's going to be one of them. So I think that's the kind of player I'm going to go for if I do need to transfer out Pedro. But again, it's just early thoughts, and I think, to be honest, I'm going to roll anyway, even if Pedro is ruled out of the game. You know, unless it's a definite long-term injury, then I probably will just roll and play Castagne away at West Ham and reassess the week after, because I will need to make a second transfer in order to fund any of those moves. So yeah, I think we'll leave that for next week. So moving on to the team, first let's have a look at the defence. Arsenal are at home to Spurs this week, so there's not much hope there for the clean sheet, as Spurs do seem to score in every game. So probably relying on a set piece goal from Gabriel. He did score in the reverse fixture, and Spurs have been quite bad at defending set pieces, so yeah, there could be something there for Gabriel maybe, but yeah, certainly not holding out much hope for a clean sheet. Alexander-Arnold's away to Forest. I do think that's going to be a fairly tight game. Forest did win the reverse game 1-0 earlier in the season, and they're certainly capable of setting up, you know, very defensive and a low block. So I do think the clean sheet chances are quite high here for Liverpool, as I don't think Forest will be too adventurous, and I mean that also does mean Trent hopefully should be able to get forward a lot and create some chances, as he should get some time on the ball. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out, but I think, yeah, there's a good chance here for some returns for him. And if the game does open up towards the end, maybe if Forest are chasing, if they're behind, yeah, there might be some opportunities there for Trent to get some assists. And Lewis Hall is at home to Wolves. Now, Newcastle are definitely the form team at the moment with 5 wins in a row, and they've only conceded once in those 5 games. And Wolves do have quite a few injuries in defence also, so if he's up against Pedro Lima and Matt Doherty down his side, then there's a good chance he might get some attacking returns as well. So yeah, quite optimistic on Hall's chances of a good few points there. So let's move on to the midfield. And Salah is away to Forest. As I mentioned earlier, I do think that could be quite a tight game. Forest have been very good defensively this year. It'll be difficult to break down, so I do think it limits Salah's ceiling somewhat, especially if they can keep it tight, you know, and keep Liverpool out for the first hour or so. Liverpool have definitely struggled against teams who set up with a low block also. But I do think if Liverpool get the early goal, then it could open up, you know, certainly on the counter towards the end if Forest do get a bit more adventurous. We know Salah's the best at that, you know, on the counter attack. So yeah, I think it just depends how the game plays out. I'm not super confident on the fixture, but I think the form that Salah's in and the fact that most people sort of around my rank are probably going to captain him too, I will probably put the armband on him. But yeah, I'm still going to think about that one up to the deadline. But yeah, the fact that I got bitten by him a couple of weeks ago, and I probably already would be in the top 100 if I had just stuck with him, it does make me sort of err on the side of caution there, I think, and maybe just stick with Salah again. And Mbeumo is at home to Man City, and normally that's the sort of game where you wouldn't expect anything, but I do think Brentford always tend to give them a difficult game anyway. But the way City have been defending for a good few months now, it means they're allowing a lot of big chances for the opposition, and that's kind of Brentford's speciality really, is they'll do nothing for most of the game and then they'll get a couple of big chances, and Mbeumo's usually the one on the end of it. So I'm quietly confident there'll be something in it for him. It's certainly not going to be a 19-point haul, but yeah, I can definitely see him getting something on the counter there against City. Then Bruno Fernandes is at home to Southampton. Now they're statistically the worst team in Premier League history after 20 games. They fell apart last week after Brentford got their second goal on the hour, so I think if United can get ahead in this one, there's a good chance Southampton heads will drop and United will score a few. And obviously Bruno Fernandes tends to be involved. He's averaged 6.5 points per game since I bought him in game week 10, so he has been ticking along quite nicely. But he does only have 2 double-digit returns this season, and both of those were when Van Nistelrooy was temporarily in charge, and they were sort of very attacking in those games. Also, I think he might end up playing as one of the 2 deeper midfielders in this, purely just because it's Southampton. So I am considering him for the captaincy, but I just think those few points are telling me that, you know, the only reason you'd captain him here is just based on the quality difference of the teams and historically Bruno, you know, being able to score big in games. But I do think for now he's just behind Salah for me this week. But I am definitely still thinking about that one up to the deadline. Depends how risky I want to be this week. I think owning him might just be enough anyway to be different and get any rank rises if he does score well. So Anthony Gordon is at home to Wolves. As I mentioned earlier, they've got quite a few injuries in defence. So if he is up against Lima and Doherty down that side, yeah, there could be plenty of returns for Gordon. He's got returns in his last 5 league games. He got a goal in the League Cup semi-final during last week. So yeah, very happy with Gordon. I got him in nice and early, which there was a little bit of luck involved in that. I was sort of forced into something, but yeah, he's been great for me, so yeah, very happy to have him. Palmer is at home to Bournemouth. Bournemouth are having a great season, sitting 7th in the table at the moment, and they're only 3 points behind Chelsea. I have sort of been backing Chelsea to recover, but it's 4 games without a win now, so I just don't think they're quite as reliable a team as they felt at the start of the season. But Palmer doesn't have to be on the winning team. He doesn't have to be in a team that absolutely dominates and gets loads of returns. He just needs that 1 assist, 1 goal, and he's generally going to get 3 bonus because of chance creation, key passes, and all of those metrics. So, yeah, I do think there's potential here for Palmer, but Bournemouth have been quite stingy recently with the 4 clean sheets and 7, so I'm not seeing him as a captaincy option this week myself, but I could definitely be proved wrong there because the quality of the player, Palmer, you know something's always around the corner, a big score. So, but obviously very happy to hold him for a very long time. On to the forwards. Isak is at home to Wolves. Already mentioned Wolves a couple of times, and Isak, very obvious. He scored in the last 7 games in the league. He's the form striker. At Wolves' defence, I can't see them keeping him out, so be very surprised if he doesn't get at least 1 return hit. Yeah, not much more we can say on Isak really. And then, as mentioned earlier, Pedro, he has picked up some form of ankle injury, and we just don't really know at the moment whether it's just a week-long thing or whether it's going to be months out again. I'm just going to wait up until the deadline, see if we get any news. If there's nothing concrete, I'm just going to keep him. I'll probably just play Castagne away at West Ham and reassess afterwards. If it is a long-term injury, I probably will do the same also, because I need to do a second transfer to change Pedro to any of the strikers I'm looking at. And yeah, I just don't think it's worth panicking on that one. If he does play, it's Ipswich away. It's a difficult fixture to read. Newcastle beat them comfortably a few weeks ago, but since then Ipswich they had a close defeat to Arsenal. They beat Chelsea, they drew 2-2 with Fulham, and the 2 Fulham goals were penalties, so it does look like Ipswich have improved a fair bit in the last few games, so there's no guarantees here for Pedro if he does play. But again, for me, if he's fit, he's in there every week, and yeah, you've seen with his record, especially against the bigger teams as well, he's capable of scoring in any game. So yeah, unless he's completely ruled out, then yeah, he's definitely going to stay there for me. So just to summarise then, Salah's going to be captain at the moment. I am still considering Bruno Fernandes. That'll go right up to the deadline for me. But with my sensible hat on, I'm probably going to go Salah. I've got Castagne first on the bench, so if Pedro doesn't make it, he's there, and I'm quite happy with that. Probably a 2-pointer, but I'm not going to panic there. And yeah, Vandenberg's there as a second backup if necessary, but yeah, again, not obviously expecting much there. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.